Hi, friends. This week, we have the fabulous Jennifer Soo. She's an amazing actress, advocate, creator, producer.
Yeah, I guess so.
And we're going to talk a little bit about her experience. So, Jenny, what type of eating disorder did you deal with?
Straight up anorexia.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Do you remember the moment that you put the label anorexia on what you were going through?
Ooh, so that's like a kind of tricky question because there was a point, if I'm being honest, where I knew what was going on, and then there was a point where I was publicly able to acknowledge that I had anorexia. And you were actually there for the moment where I realized like something was really wrong, and it was when we were in grad school, and I just was like sitting on the ground, and I was like, my butt just hurt so much from sitting here. Like I could feel my bones on the ground, and I knew at that point that I wasn't a good place. I feel like after that, I still didn't want to be public about the fact. Well, I wasn't really able to admit it to myself, truly.
Yeah.
Until I was kind of pretty far along in my recovery.
You've mentioned to me in just our conversations that it was a lot easier for you to admit that you're going through depression and anxiety than it was to admit that it was an eating disorder.
Yeah, totally.
Why do you think that was?
I think because, I don't know about you, but where I grew up, like being like emo and like depressed was kind of a cool thing to be, or totally okay. Eating disorders were like total lifetime stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's like, for lack of a better word, like a girly problem to have.
Sure.
And I think because I am of a thinner build, I got a lot of, you have an eating disorder growing up, and I didn't at that point. So then there's this like shame of, oh, I totally became that cliche, like that skinny girl who has an eating disorder. That was really hard.
Yeah. When you were sort of in the thick of your struggle when we were in grad school, what was the most helpful thing that people around you did to support you?
Oh man, I am a stubborn bitch. I wish
Which is a great thing.
I wish I could say that I was open enough to be like receptive to real help at that point, but I really wasn't. And the most helpful moments that I had with people were, you know, my brother was so incredibly supportive, and he knew what was up even when I wasn't ready to admit it, but he would just ask how I was doing and truly listen to how my life, what I wanted to talk about, and that was really helpful. Our friend Megan, she voiced her concern once and then just didn't say anything after that, and then one Christmas she gave me a book about eating and all that stuff, and that was really powerful.
Yeah.
Because I knew, even though she hadn't talked about it for over a year, that it was on her mind. And, and that was really moving, actually. It was really helpful.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe a year or two ago, you made a very public post on Facebook about what you had been through. What was that decision like to kind of like go public with it?
Yeah, I'd just gotten married, and there was a lot to be grateful for. I'd been through a lot of life changes. So my dad passed away, which is a huge event in my life, and then I got married, and I think it was a time of reflection for me, and at that point I realized how far I had come, because the eating disorder felt like so long ago, and I realized there was a period in my recovery where I was like, oh, I'm healthy, I'm physically healthy, but the thought patterns were so cyclical that I kind of felt like this is just my cross to bear for the rest of my life. I'm always going to be thinking about these things, but it's okay as long as I'm physically healthy. And when I was having this moment of reflection after we had gotten married, I realized that I wasn't thinking about those things so regularly anymore. And it was kind of amazing to me how far I'd come and how I never thought I'd actually get there. So I just felt like it was time for everyone in my life to sort of know what was going on, because I knew I had been so private during all of that. And I was really proud of myself. And I really wanted to let everyone know that, like, it's so cliche, but that, God, there's like a light at the end of the fucking tunnel. There really is. You know, like if I can fucking do it, you can, because it was bad.
Yes. That is like such an important thing, because I remember feeling the exact same way. Like even when I was in treatment and things were going well and I wasn't like binging and purging anymore, I was like, I am always going to be obsessed with food. I'm always going to hate what I see in the mirror. I'm always going to be in this brain cycle. And then it went away.
It's amazing.
It like fucking went away.
It actually went away. Yeah, like it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Not to say that you don't have moments, but like, my gosh.
Yeah. I know that like with AA and a lot of addictions, they talk a lot about always being in recovery, but sort of like a new thing in the eating disorder movement is this idea that you can be recovered.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like a new thought and a new thing that's being talked about. And I think it's so powerful, and I think it's real. Like, I just never thought that was gonna be possible.
Yeah, same, yeah.
And it's cool to talk to someone else who had that similar experience of thinking, oh, this is my cross to bear, and
yeah,
now I'm like cleared of it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, so much of the cycle was criticizing myself, whether it was like you ate too much, or you're thinking about this too much, or you'll never be a normal person. And to finally be able to not be so hard on myself is kind of nice.
To like be gentle and like kind. Yeah. That's awesome. Makes me really happy. Huh. So you're one of the few, I would say, people I know who was able to recover without like structured treatment. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like? Because it can be really hard for people to get treatment, and I think a lot of people feel like if they can't get treatment, they're doomed. But
oh yeah,
you were able to.
Dang. I mean, if you can get treatment right away, I would say please do, because no one should have to spend 5 years to go through that, you know? For me, it was like, not to sound over dramatic, but when I had that moment in grad school, I was like, oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Like no one can sustain this. And so there was this part of like sheer will of, I didn't want to let go of my eating habits, so that I just would like force feed I would just be like, you have to have like half a peanut butter jar or whatever.
Yeah.
And I would just do that. But honestly, most of it had to do with surrounding myself with people who are, and no one should have to do this for their friends. Like if you can go to therapy, please do, because that person will be much further along. But I was lucky enough to be surrounded by family and friends who were very supportive and able to lift me up, I guess. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not making any sense.
No, you're making so much sense.
I think if I could say there was one thing that really helped me through, was to know that I could just be easy on myself. Even if today was a bad day, that's okay. We can start again tomorrow. And every day was like a new day of how are we gonna tackle this? For me, it was like day by day, and catching myself when I was having a particularly bad day and being like, okay, that's happening, and acknowledging that and being okay with that. And that was sort of my journey. I know it's not.
No, it's great, and it's so powerful. It just takes so much mental work.
Yeah.
And it's, at least for me, my experience of it was like, there was the obvious stuff, like the meal plan, the eating stuff, but then like the really like subtle work of changing the way your brain thinks. It's can feel really nebulous and hard to like put a finger on.
Oh, I guess there are two other things I would say were helpful. Not to be all woo-woo, but like meditation is huge. It's annoying as shit, and I'm not great at it, but that helped a lot. Like that thought, especially the thought pattern process and breaking that, and being in the moment and being present in your body, whether that means taking a dance class or going on a hike or any of those things. That was really helpful. And then the other thing, which not everyone can do, but for me, we graduated school, and then I moved to LA, which was a big change being an East Coast person. It was really nice to just shake it up and be like, I'm a new person out here. And you can do that any day of your life, truly, but maybe it's like a haircut or like whatever it is, but just to be like, oh, I don't have to be the person today that I was yesterday. Like, this is a new moment every day. That was, so moving out here was huge. I felt like I could shed the baggage that I had of the dark years or whatever.
Oh, that's really cool.
I really like that.
I have this question: if your eating disorder was an animal or like some sort of like animated creature, like what would it have looked like?
Can you answer yours? Did you already do that?
Oh, I feel like
curious.
Mine would. Oh, I hadn't thought about it for myself. I think mine would look like, it would be like a two-faced. Like on the outside, it would be this like really hot, sexy together woman, and then on the other side of the face, it would be like a really selfish monster with like big teeth.
Yeah, that's good.
Or something like that.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I think mine would not be as cool as that. You're way cooler than I am.
Wow, I don't think so.
I think it would be like an annoying gnat, or like those fruit flies. That just like kind of are always like in your face and annoying and never going away. I don't know. It was never for me like a positive thing to have one. It was always like this deep, dark thing that I was always like trying to cover. Not very well, but trying.
Yeah. If you could say something to the Jenny that was in a lot of pain, what would you say?
Ooh. You're loved, and you deserve to be loved, and loving yourself isn't a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Self-love, man.
Self-love, man.
I don't know why it's so hard to do, but
It's hard.
it's really important. Love yourself.
Yeah.
It starts with you.
It starts with you.
Yeah.
What was like the most surprising or most interesting thing that you learned about yourself or about your eating disorder when you were fighting it?
I remember the one therapy session I did agree to go to. The question she posited that really stuck with me was, what's so bad about feeling full? Like, why are you so adverse to that? And I was like, oh my God, I've become addicted to this feeling of being empty. That feeling full feels really unsafe to me.
Whoa.
And that was a really interesting reframing of it.
Yeah.
Which was like crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
being full should be like this really satisfying, wonderful thing. And to me, it was like gross and scary. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was really
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah. Did you feel at all, I know I felt this way, that you didn't want to take up space in the world?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I struggle with that now, but at the time, the correlation of like wanting to be as small as possible and not being noticed at all, which is kind of funny. I'm an actor. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But if I could go into a room and not be noticed by anyone at the time, that would have been the best feeling ever. I just
Yeah.
wanted to disappear.
Yeah.
I left my body a lot.
Yeah. That's really hard.
Yeah.
It's not a fun way to live.
Yeah, I mean, at the time it feels really good.
Yeah.
But when you look back, it's kind of devastating to
Yeah.
think about all the years that you sort of lost. And like, I actually don't really have much memory from that time.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a black hole of memories.
Wow.
It's terrible. And my teeth, they're terrible.
Really?
Sorry, I'm like such a grandma.
No,
I mean,
that's a
it
very
sucks.
real thing.
Yeah, like I go to
Yeah.
a dentist and I'm so ashamed and I'm like, it's not that I don't brush my teeth. Like,
Yeah.
I just didn't feed my body for a good 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. What's been the best part of recovery?
I guess it goes back to what we were just talking about, which is being able to go out and enjoy it and have like a real human connection, and to be able to be, honestly, like to be able to listen to you while I'm talking to you and hear what you're saying. In the past, I would have been like, what am I eating for lunch? What am I eating for dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so great to feel alive, like
Yeah.
truly alive. Oh my God, I found something like a Lifetime movie.
No, it's but it's so good. Feeling alive.
The colors are so vivid. No, yeah.
It's a real thing.
Like, life's fucking short.
Yeah.
You know, it's whatever you're holding on to, it's so not worth it. I promise you, it's not. Life's full of wonderful things.
yeah.
And some really awful things, but
Yeah.
it's worth it. It's totally worth all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you, because you have had some really hard times while you've been in recovery.
Yeah.
How have you been able to hang on to your progress during times
Oh
of
my gosh.
emotional turmoil?
It's brutal honesty with yourself and catching it as soon as you can. And it's the same thing that goes back to like every day's a new day. So like if today I had a granola bar and I was pretending that I was too busy to eat, tomorrow I have to like be honest with myself and say, today's a new day. Take care of yourself, love yourself, breathe. You'll get through it. Yeah. And therapy. Go to therapy.
Go to therapy. It's really good.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
my gosh.
sharing your experience with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. The best.
She's the best.
She's the best.
No, she is.
If people want to find more Jenny Soo, where can they find more Jenny Soo?
Jenny.Soo with a Y on Insta. And what do you normally plug? I don't
know.
I'm such a grandma. Like, I don't know.
Grandma Sue.
And I'm on Twitter too. Jennifer Soo, Jenny Soo, whatever.
Yeah. Well, tune in next Wednesday for another interview. Take up space. Rawr.